Well, hi everybody, this is Marcus Toole and Mario is my cameraman. It is towards the end of October and I thought I'd give kind of an update on my little home orchard. It's that time of year where a lot of stuff needs to be done to kind of put the orchard to bed. And I thought I'd show you a few of my little tasks, which I've just begun. There's just tons to do out here. But one of the little projects I need to do in the next couple of weeks is mulching the blueberry bushes. Now this right here is one of my wild blueberries. This is what we call a huckleberry, and it's a Vaccinium Elliottii is the species. And those of you who have been kind of watching my little orchard updates, you probably this past spring. This guy was only about yay high, and now it's this much larger bush. And when it's fully mature, the thing will be about 8 foot tall.
There's no berries on it yet.
Well, the berries form in the spring. It blooms first thing in the spring. It is going to bloom though. We've got it's just beginning to form its little bloom buds, and not all the blueberries have formed their bloom buds yet. They're just starting to do that. But what needs to be done with this guy, and with all of them, is that any weeds, here's a little pecan tree that has come up.
That's a pecan tree?
That's a little baby pecan tree, but it can't stay there.
Oh.
And so the little pecan trees get cut down. Any other weeds that are...
Pecan trees are not weeds.
Well, they're weeds when they're around your blueberries. What in the world? Anyhow.
So, why do you need pine needles under there?
Okay, blueberries, a couple of things. Blueberries have a very shallow root system, and so they dry out really easily. In fact, this late summer I kind of let my blueberries get too dry, and some of them, the huckleberries did just fine with that. They're made out of a little hardier stuff than the...
So the pine needles act as mulch. That's supposed to like trap the moisture or something underneath?
It traps the moisture around them. The other thing it does is that all vacciniums require an extremely acidic soil. And pine straw emits acid. And so it keeps the acidity the way it's supposed to be. The other thing is that the vacciniums, the blueberries, do not have root hairs like most plants, and so they're dependent upon a fungus to gather nutrients out of the soil. And the fungus that they like specifically grows in pine straw. So blueberries really they do way better if they have pine straw around them. So, so these are the huckleberries.
It has to be pine straw. It has to be pine straw. It can't be like regular mulch. Like.
Yeah, well, wood chips, pine wood chips would work. If you're in a colder climate, spruce needles would work. But whatever it is, it needs to be acidic. Leaves from broadleaf trees generally don't work as well because leaves do not produce the level of acidity that blueberries need. So now this is a guava. I had our last guava fruit. I just picked my very last guava fruit. The guavas taste kind of like, my sister describes it as tasting like juicy fruit gum.
It's wonderful. I tried them too, you guys. It's like so delicious.
Yeah, they're really good.
But it's only like a small piece of fruit that you get inside after you peel it.
Yeah, it's you basically scoop it out with a spoon, and there's not a whole lot to a guava. But once the bushes get big, they'll produce lots of them. So the guavas are, they'll be mulched with pine straw and stuff as well. We don't mulch the plum trees. This is a Japanese plum. This one is called,
a Japanese plum, you said?
It's a Japanese plum. I'm trying to remember the variety of it. Santa Rosa is the name of this one. And Santa Rosa is going to bloom. It's got little bloom, the little buds. You've come up close, Mario. You can see that the little buds look like little knots. And when they buds look like little knots like that, that means they're, yeah, that may not turn out to be a flower. It might not, but these down here for sure will. So this guy is going to bloom. It had a few flowers last year, but it's really going to bloom this year. Now this one over here is also a Japanese plum. This one's called Methley. And
it's called what?
Methley. Methley is the variety. I'm not so sure that this one's going to bloom so well. It might not. I just can't. It just doesn't. It's not really forming those kind of buds yet, but maybe it will. Okay, let's go over here. Our pecan tree. My good pecan tree is the only one that produced any pecans this year, and they were delicious. But the problem is none of the other trees produced any pecans, so all the squirrels attacked it, and they ate up all the pecans. So anyhow, you see my.
How come they eat all the pecans at 1 year? You got a barrel full of them.
Well, because all the pecans around were producing that year, and the squirrels weren't concentrating on this one tree. That's why. The squirrels have been just an especially big pest this year. Here's an improved Methley plum, and this one is, I think, going to bloom.
It looks dead.
Well, it's just dormant for winter. And over here, let's see here. We have my pear tree. This is 10, and it's grown a good bit. This is where it started this year, and all that up there is this year's growth. That's 10. That one will ripen in September.
Jojo.
This one here is a see, this was last year's, and all that up there is this year's growth. And I think this one here is Southern Bartlett, which is should be distinguished from the regular Bartlett pear. The regular Bartlett pears are too susceptible to fire blight to grow in our climate, but Southern Bartlett is a brand new variety, and it's supposed to take our climate, and it's actually, this one's doing quite well. This one will produce pears in July, supposedly.
Did you get pears last July?
No, I didn't. It was too young. It bloomed a little bit. The other thing is that 10 did not bloom with it, and it needs 10 to bloom with it. This one here is a shug, and this is an early
sugar,
as in sugar, but the name is shortened for shug, which is kind of southern for sugar. This one will have sugar in the skin of the pears, and this will be an August producer, and I think it's going to bloom next year too. Just looking at the little spurs, I think it's going to bloom. Over here, this is one of my hybrid plums. This is a hybrid between the Asian plum and the Japanese plum and the North American species called a Chickasaw plum, and this one's going to bloom. This one bloomed actually quite well this past year, produced a few fruit, and they were delicious, by the way. And then also I think this is my European. Now I gotta get the vines and stuff out of my European plums. The wisteria keeps wanting to take them over. This here is a Jefferson plum, and this one I am pretty sure is going to bloom next year. I think it's got bloom buds on it, and so does my green gage, Jojo. And I think the gages are going to do. The gages should produce this coming year.
Gages?
The gage plums. They're the European plums, and they're green at maturity. This here is a North American plum that is sort of a family heirloom. This is a plum that my family's been growing for years. I saved a root growth from a plant that my aunt had that died. And so anyhow, this has orange fruit, and it's actually pretty good. It's not as good as the Japanese plum. I mainly keep it for sentimental reasons, because it's kind of our family plum. Over here I have my cultivated blueberries. These are my rabbit-eye blueberries, which are the commercial blueberries. And I can tell that a few of them are beginning to produce bloom buds for next year, so I think they're going to do good. This one here is actually not a rabbit-eye. This one here I have a couple in here that are actually high bush blueberries.
I like the leaves.
Yeah, the leaves of the blueberries will turn bright red. I did let them get a little bit too dry, and so some of them are just kind of turning brown instead. But the blueberries are supposed to turn red in the winter.
What happened to your grapes?
The grapes, well, well, it's gone dormant. And pretty soon I'm going to have to do some pruning. And of course I have this cypress vine grown all in it. I have to clean that out. I got to prune this. This one won't require a whole lot of pruning, but it will require some. This is my seedless grape.
Pruning is just when you chop off like all this stuff, right?
Yeah, well, this right here is a weed that's got to be pulled out. Pruning is actually you cut back. With grapevines, you cut them back to the limb that goes along the wire. That's called a cordon. And then you have little side branches, which this one doesn't have a lot of side branches yet. And you cut those back until you have 4 nodes. So you count, the node is where the little leaf came out. So you cut 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll snip there. Okay, and all along here, like this will be my main branch, most likely. Or I might keep this one as my main branch. I'll have to decide. But whatever is a side branch, like this one here is definitely going to be a side branch. So I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, snip. This one here will be a side branch. 1, 2, 3, 4, snip. What that does, grapevines only produce grapes on 2-year-old growth, and on the new growth that comes off of the 2-year-old growth or last year's growth. And so when you cut it back, that forces new growth to come out, and it forces the grapevine to produce more flowers. Now over here I have my muscadines, and they will also need to be pruned. And the muscadines, next year they should be in full production. So in here, I will, when I prune, this will really be its first major pruning. I will choose one of these vines to be my cordon that will just go the length of the wire. And then I'll cut all the rest back to 4 nodes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then snip. And then it'll just, and that will cause it to bush out in the spring all along here, and that'll produce more grapes.
In the winter, it's all going to look like this, huh?
It's all going to, yeah, it's all the leaves are going to come off. They're falling now, but the leaves fall off of the bunch grapes before they do the muscadines. But the muscadines are going to be leafless pretty soon. Well, I think our video is probably already very long, so
it's 13 minutes long.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, they have trouble even posting it as it is. So anyhow, this is Marcus Coolman Tool
and Mario
with our little orchard report. Talk to you later. God bless. Bye.